Hello, my name is Day and welcome to my YouTube channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the trans fraud that's going on in the community. I feel like ever since trans and transgenderism has gone mainstream and became a trend, there's undoubtedly going to be bad actors within that community. And I feel like if you're someone who doesn't believe that there's a possibility for anyone to be a bad actor or a grifter or a poser within the trans category, the trans community, then I feel like you're just not getting it. Obviously that's what's going to happen. I just want to start off by saying some examples. I believe Lily Tino, Gabby Tuff, and Chris Tyson, just to name three, who are more well known in the community, are definitely examples of bad actors within the community. They all share the same sort of thing where they were all comfortable and confident in being a man, and then they just decided to transition. Now here's the thing that's wrong with that. I am someone who believes that gender dysphoria and sex dysphoria is something that's diagnosable, and it's a condition of the brain where you have the brain of the opposite sex, essentially. Your brain activity and everything resembles, there's been studies done on this where it's a lot of trans women's brain activity will resemble cis women's brain activity. And so I feel starting there, it's safe to say that if you're someone who doesn't have the brain of the opposite sex, then you don't have a good reason to transition. I know I've made tweets about this, how I would be willing to get a brain scan. It's just something that I don't have really access to or the funds for, because I don't know how much it costs, but if I were to guess, it would just be pretty costly. So I don't really have the access to do that. However, I am interested in getting that done someday. Now, if my results said I had brain activity that resembled more of a man, would I detransition? Maybe. I highly doubt that. I feel my brain activity definitely resembles more of a cis woman's. So yeah, it's the brain sex, body sex mismatch. And it's if you don't have that, then you're not really trans in my books. And so you can transition, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're transgender or transsexual. I feel you need that brain sex, body sex mismatch in order to transition and be valid. And the reason why I think this is such a topic for me and such a thing that I talk about and a concern for me is because I just have this moral compass where I feel it's insanely wrong for you to just basically be a cis man and then just decide that you're going to portray yourself as a woman in society. That's a higher level of deception than someone who does have a brain sex, body sex mismatch transitioning, because at least they have the mental of a female. And but if you have the mental of a man and you're transitioning to a woman, you're thinking a man, that's just more a fraud to me. That's way more of a fraud than transitioning if you're a valid transsexual. Obviously there's a level of deception that comes into play, even with me assuming that I do have the brain of a female, I'm still deceiving what my birth sex is, but it's less of an extent of a deception as to if someone didn't have that mismatch. I think one big reason why some people are transitioning without actually having dysphoria of any sort is because they have something to gain from being the opposite sex. Now with male to female, this would probably be attention. They're probably someone who thinks that, well, of course they're going to get attention from just being trans and transitioning, but they're also going for the attention of being perceived as a woman or a girl, especially if they think they're pretty on any level. Some of them, obviously we all know as a society pretty girls get attention, so it's that's like one big point for like a male to female why they might want to transition without having dysphoria. And that's just kind of, it's kind of messed up. Like for like a female and male, I honestly don't think it's the attention thing, but I think it's mostly just because they look masculine as a woman, and so like that's the reason to transition. And yeah, and so like they have like the male privilege to gain in that sense. And they're kind of like doing the opposite of like, they're not a pretty woman, but they'd be a more handsome man. So like, yeah, some people are just transitioning just because they think they have something to gain from being the opposite sex. I feel like in the future, this trans thing should be something that's like diagnosable, like scientifically, not just through stating you have dysphoria, but like with like brain scans and stuff, where we can like know you're actually trans before we like fast track you on a transition. And I think that this would just be like the ultimate gatekeep in the community, which is definitely needed. Yeah, there's just a lot of bad actors out here, and I think Lily Tino is definitely a more well-known bad actor in the community. And like a person like this has only transitioned simply because it was a trend and they thought they had something to gain. And it's just the sad reality. I think that they're definitely not the only one. Like there's plenty of people, and I like to make the point that like the older you are that you transition, the more likely it is that you're doing it for the wrong reasons and that you're not actually a transsexual. Because I feel like the common trope is that transitioning is like life-saving, and that you'll unalive yourself if you just have so much dysphoria, and like, which can be true. Like honestly, it could have been life-saving for me, as I definitely did suffer from dysphoria, and it got to a point where it was like pretty unbearable. But the thing is, I transitioned at a young age because of that. Like this wasn't something that I just dealt with. Like it's more life-saving the younger you are, because like the older you are, it's like that's just a cop-out for you to say that it was life-saving if you're like a 40, 50-year-old transitioning, and it's like, oh, you just can't live another day as your assigned sex. Like, get out of here, that's nonsense. It's not life-saving for you, you're just making a decision. I just think that's the case the older you are. And yeah, so if you like this video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for watching, and feel free to check out my Linktree that's in the description of the video. You can find like a little website, that's what the Linktree is, of like to all my links of everywhere you can find me on the internet. And I'm pretty much on everything. So thank you for watching, and have a good day.